You know that feeling. It's late at night, the house is finally quiet, and for some reason, you find yourself typing your own address into one of those automated real estate sites.
Oh, yeah, we've all been there.
Right. You know exactly the ones I'm talking about. You just want to take a little peek. And suddenly, depending on what that digitally generated number says, you are either sitting on your couch feeling like instantly
Or you're
rich.
staring at the screen in a total panic.
Exactly, just wondering where all your equity went.
Yeah, we treat that little search bar like the modern homeowner's crystal ball.
100%.
We crave a definitive, immediate answer about our biggest financial asset. And that single number, it provides this instant dopamine hit or, a heavy dose of anxiety.
But the reality is that definitive answer is usually a massive illusion. And that is the mission for our deep dive today.
It's a really important one, too.
Yeah. We're pulling from this fascinating guide I've been digging into. It's called The Human Element, Decoding Your Home's True Market Value.
That's a great title.
Right. And the goal here is to uncover the massive blind spots in those automated online estimates and reveal how a home's value is actually determined in today's constantly shifting market.
Which is shifting fast, by the way.
Super fast. Because honestly, treating an online algorithm like a real estate appraiser is like asking a pocket calculator to critique a painting.
Oh, I love that analogy.
Yeah. I mean, it can do the math, but it completely misses the art.
It really does. It's the ultimate clash between, the convenience of the algorithm and the really complex reality of the market.
Yeah.
In an era of absolute information overload, the easiest data to find, that automated estimate popping up in 2 seconds is rarely the most accurate data.
Right. Fast simply does not mean true.
Exactly.
So if we accept that these algorithms completely miss the art of a home, we have to look at what exactly these digital calculators are entirely blind to.
There's a lot.
There is. The guide lays out a pretty stark reality. These automated models, they simply cannot see recent upgrades or renovations.
No, they can't.
They don't know about your unique lot positioning or if you have a water view. They're entirely blind to the actual interior condition,
Yeah.
the quality of your finishes, and highly specific buyer demand shifts happening right down to your specific street level.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is the fundamental mechanism of how these algorithms actually function.
Right. How do they even work?
Well, they are inherently backwards looking. They're built to scrape standardized flat data.
Okay.
So an algorithm reads public tax records. It pulls the data points that say, your home has 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and 2,000 square feet.
Just the bare bones.
Exactly. But it cannot quantify the human element. It can't walk through your front door and feel the condition of the home.
Right. It doesn't know if your open concept layout flows beautifully or if the space feels really dark and cramped.
Yes. It is completely blind to the emotional response a physical space provokes. And that response, by the way, is the primary driver behind a buyer deciding to actually write an offer.
Okay, let's unpack this for a second. If algorithms are so incredibly sophisticated these days,
Yeah.
I mean, we have tech companies with billions of dollars building AI that can, write code and drive cars.
Right.
Why can't they just factor in my zip code's average renovation cost to adjust the price? Why can't the algorithm just look at historical data and say, well, homes in this neighborhood generally get a 10% bump for a remodel and just adjust my estimate accordingly?
That's a great question, but it's because averages fundamentally break down when you apply them to specific individual physical spaces.
Okay, how so?
Well, first of all, the algorithm does not know if you actually executed that renovation.
Oh, true.
And furthermore, it cannot evaluate the quality of the craftsmanship. A tech company's algorithm might try to apply a baseline appreciation metric to your zip code, but it cannot differentiate between, say, builder-grade materials and custom luxury finishes.
Wow, yeah. Which exposes the massive logical flaw in trusting that number.
Exactly.
I mean, an algorithm looks at a home with a kitchen from 1990, original oak cabinets, maybe some peeling laminate countertops.
Classic.
Right. And then it looks at a house with a brand new, top-of-the-line 2026 kitchen with custom stone and professional appliances.
And what does it see?
If the square footage matches and the bed and bath count matches on the county tax record, the algorithm treats them like identical twins.
It is wild, and the financial stakes of that blindness are enormous.
I bet.
Missing these human elements can easily swing a home's value by tens of thousands of dollars or more.
Really? Just from those details?
Well, absolutely. Think about it. If your home has premium lot positioning, say, it backs up to a quiet nature reserve instead of a busy intersection.
Okay, yeah.
That is a massive value driver for a human buyer who values peace and quiet.
Of course.
But the algorithm, it just sees two parcels of land in the exact same subdivision and assigns them the exact same baseline value.
Man. So if Zillow or any other automated site doesn't know I just spent $50,000 getting my master bathroom, we have to figure out how we actually find the real number.
You do.
And that leads directly to the core question most homeowners completely fail to ask when they're, trying to figure out what their property is worth.
Yeah, homeowners usually default to asking, what does the internet say my house is worth?
Right, the easy route.
But the truly strategic question is, what is my home actually worth in today's market based on real buyers, not an algorithm?
It sounds simple, but answering it requires looking at a completely different set of metrics.
Yes, it does.
You have to review true comparable sales. And the distinction made in the guide here is critical. These must be closed sales, not just active listings.
And this raises an important question. Why is the distinction between an active listing and a closed sale so critical to finding your real number?
Yeah, why does it matter so much?
It comes down to separating aspiration from reality.
Ooh, I like that.
Right. An active listing is simply a seller's hope. It is a marketing number, an advertisement designed to anchor negotiations.
Got it.
A closed sale is the cold, hard reality of what a buyer was actually willing to pull money out of your bank account to pay.
So looking at active listings to price your home is exactly like looking at the sticker price of a car at the dealership.
Yes, perfect analogy.
It's just ink on paper, representing what the dealer wants you to pay. But looking at closed sales, that is seeing the actual receipt of what the customer paid before driving it off the lot.
Exactly. And to take that car dealership analogy a step further, finding the true value requires looking past even the final receipt to find the hidden incentives.
Hidden incentives, like what?
Well, just like a car dealer might throw in free premium floor mats, tinted windows, maybe a subsidized financing rate to get you to agree to that sticker price. Home sellers use concessions.
Okay.
So you have to understand current negotiation trends, analyze days on market, and track nearby price reductions.
Wait, okay, I have to push back on this idea of concessions being a blind spot.
Okay, let's hear.
If a seller gives a buyer a $15,000 concession to, say, buy down their mortgage rate or fix a roof, isn't that eventually recorded in public tax documents?
You would think so, right?
Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't that same billion-dollar tech company's algorithm just scrape the final net sheet to see what the house actually sold for?
Because of the legal mechanism of how real estate transactions are recorded.
Really?
Yeah. Concessions represent the invisible money moving around in a transaction, and they are private.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Most people don't. Let's say a house officially sells for $500,000. That headline number, the $500,000, is what gets recorded with the county clerk.
Okay.
The algorithm scrapes the county record, sees $500,000, and logs that data point. But the $15,000 credit the seller gave the buyer to repair the roof,
Right, the hidden money.
that is on the private closing disclosure. It does not go to the county recorder.
Wow.
So the true net value of that sale was $485,000, but the algorithm is legally blind to it.
That is wild. So the algorithm is literally just scraping the headline vanity number, totally oblivious to the actual private deal that was struck.
Exactly.
So the algorithm thinks the neighborhood is appreciating, but in reality, sellers are secretly bleeding equity just to get deals done.
Yes. Which is why the concept of time becomes the most critical factor in your analysis.
Because things change so fast.
Exactly. By focusing on recent closed sales and the actual negotiated realities of those sales, you start to see that real estate markets are not static. They are living, breathing, constantly shifting ecosystems.
So relying on what your neighbor's house sold for last year, or honestly, even a few months ago, is a massive mistake.
A huge mistake.
The data from 6 months ago is essentially ancient history at this point.
Completely.
We're looking at current market realities where buyer psychology has fundamentally shifted. We're seeing heightened price sensitivity. We're seeing increased negotiation, a heavy reliance on those hidden concessions we just talked about,
Yeah.
and much wider gaps between the initial list price and the actual final sale price.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it perfectly illustrates the psychology of a transitional market. When a market shifts, buyer psychology moves from the fear of missing out to the fear of overpaying.
FOMO to F-oop.
Exactly. In a hot market, buyers will waive inspections, throw cash at a house, whatever it takes.
Right.
But in a shifting market, that same buyer will scrutinize every single dollar and demand a credit for a slightly older HVAC system.
That makes sense.
That heightened price sensitivity means pricing your home correctly isn't just one factor among many in your selling strategy. It is the entire foundation of it.
The guide has a really stark warning about this approach. It says, overprice and you sit. Underprice and you leave money on the table.
It's so true. The margins for error are shrinking rapidly. You no longer have the luxury of getting the price wrong and just letting a rising market bail you out.
So what does this all mean for the seller who decides to ignore the closed sales and just, test the waters with a high price?
Oh, the classic test the waters strategy.
You know the type. They say, let's list it 20 grand higher than the comps and see if anyone bites. We can always lower it later. If you throw a high price out there and the house just sits on the market for weeks, doesn't the home become stigmatized? Like, doesn't the buyer pool start to look at that growing days on market counter and wonder what is physically wrong with the property?
Yes, that stigma is very real, but it is not just psychological, it's actually algorithmic.
Wait, really? Algorithmic how?
The days on market metric acts like gravity. The higher it goes, the heavier the penalty becomes.
Oh, wow.
Think about it. Real estate search platforms default to sorting by newest.
Right, everyone wants to see the fresh listings.
Exactly. When a house sits because it is overpriced, it literally gets pushed down to the bottom of the search results. It becomes invisible.
Out of sight, out of mind.
And when highly educated buyers finally do scroll down and see a stale listing, they do not think the seller is just testing the waters.
What do they think?
They assume there's a hidden defect or that the seller is completely unreasonable to deal with.
Man, so you basically end up chasing the market downward. You do a price reduction, but by then the buyers have already moved on, so you have to do another one.
Exactly. And when a buyer finally does make an offer on a stale listing, it is usually far lower than they would have offered if the home had been priced correctly from day one.
That hurts.
Yeah, you basically penalize yourself by trying to squeeze the market.
Which brings us right back to why you cannot rely on an automated estimate to set your initial strategy.
Right.
To avoid those twin disasters,
Yeah.
Overpricing and becoming an invisible, stigmatized listing,
Right.
or underpricing and leaving your hard-earned equity on the table, you need a strategy.
A real strategy.
Yeah, one that combines the hard data of closed sales with the human element of condition and upgrades.
And the antidote to the automated estimate is what professionals call a real equity analysis.
A real equity analysis.
Yes.
It is a rigorous process that goes far beyond pulling a few generic numbers from a database. The breakdown of how a real equity analysis is actually performed in the guide is fascinating because it relies heavily on manual work that software simply cannot do.
It's very hands-on.
It requires 4 very specific steps. First, a deep dive into recent closed sales. Second, manual adjustments for condition, upgrades, and location.
Right.
Third, gaining deep insight into what buyers are actually paying versus what was asked. And fourth, strategic positioning.
And to really understand the power of this, we have to look at how those manual adjustments actually work in practice.
Okay, lay it on me.
When an expert performs this analysis, they use a technique called matched pair analysis.
Matched pair analysis.
Right. They don't just guess what a new kitchen is worth. They find 2 highly similar houses that recently sold, one with a 1990s kitchen, one with a 2026 kitchen.
Okay, so isolating the variables.
Exactly. By isolating that single variable, they can extract the precise dollar value that buyers in your specific neighborhood are currently assigning to a renovated kitchen.
That is brilliant. So instead of a generic zip code average, you get a hyper-local, mathematically proven value for your specific physical space.
Yes, exactly.
And what about the third step, gaining deep insight into what buyers are actually paying? If concessions are private and hidden off-book, like we just talked about, how does a human expert find them if the algorithm can't?
Through professional networking and direct communication.
Like actually talking to people.
Yes. A local real estate expert doesn't just look at the county record. They pick up the phone and call the listing agent of that closed sale down the street.
Oh, wow.
They ask, hey, I see you closed at $500,000, but were there any seller credits involved to make that happen? Humans can gather the qualitative context that machines are just completely locked out of.
So when you synthesize those steps, the matched pair analysis for condition and the direct networking to uncover the hidden concessions, what you're really getting is context.
Context is everything.
An algorithm gives you flat data devoid of context. A real equity analysis gives you the context required to actually understand the data.
Absolutely. This level of rigorous analysis provides clarity and confidence. It proves that knowledge is most valuable when it is understood in context rather than just taken at face value from a quick online search.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay,
This analysis isn't just for people who have moving boxes stacked in their living room right now.
definitely not.
It is not just for the immediate seller. This is for anyone who wants absolute clarity on their largest financial asset.
Which should be everyone.
Right. It is about making informed decisions before it is too late to adjust your strategy. If you wait until you absolutely have to sell to figure out you have $40,000 less in equity than your online estimate told you, well, your options are severely limited.
Yeah, it is really about taking control of your financial reality.
Wow.
Outsourcing your financial peace of mind to a line of code is a massive risk in a shifting market.
A huge risk.
Okay.
Okay, let's do a quick recap of the journey we have been on today for our deep dive.
Sounds good.
We started by looking at the dangerous illusion of automated online estimates. You know, those digital numbers that feel so real but completely miss the human element of a home, ignoring crucial factors like upgrades, unique views, and hyper-local demand.
Right. And then we confronted the mechanics in the market itself. We separated the aspiration of active listings from the cold reality of closed sales.
Yeah, the sticker price versus the receipt.
Exactly. We uncovered the invisible world of private concessions and negotiation trends that legally bypass the algorithms, requiring actual human experts to track them down.
And then we looked at the extreme danger of a static mindset, detailing how a shifting market changes buyer psychology, from the fear of missing out to the fear of overpaying.
Which is a huge shift.
We explored the actual algorithmic penalty of overpricing, how days on market acts like gravity, burying your listing and stigmatizing your home.
And finally, we broke down the mechanics of a real equity analysis. We explored how techniques like matched pair analysis and professional networking provide the crucial context that flat data lacks.
It's so vital.
It really is. It allows you to accurately value the human emotional elements of a home.
It is a complete paradigm shift in how we view our home's value. We are ditching the static mindset for a dynamic understanding of reality.
And, you know, that tension between algorithms and the human element leaves me with a final thought to mull over.
Oh, I love these. What is it?
Well, we have established today that algorithms are fundamentally incapable of valuing the emotional elements of a home, the interior feel, the hyper-local charm, the way natural light fills a room.
Right, the art of it.
But we also know artificial intelligence is advancing rapidly.
Really rapidly.
So what happens to home values if the buyers of the future start relying exclusively on AI agents to purchase property for them?
Oh, wow.
If an AI is making the buying decisions based purely on yield and structural metrics, will the human element premium eventually disappear from the market entirely?
That's a crazy thought.
Will things like architectural charm and beautiful layouts stop holding financial value, turning every single home into nothing more than a sterile algorithmic commodity?
That is a wild and honestly slightly terrifying thought.
Yeah, it is.
A housing market completely stripped of human emotion. It really makes you appreciate the art of the human element while we still have it.
It really does.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today.
Yeah.
You took the time to dig past the surface to understand the mechanisms behind the numbers, and that is always time well spent.
Absolutely.
Remember, the best question isn't what a pocket calculator thinks your painting is worth. The best question is whether you are ready to look at the real market, step away from the algorithm, and know your real number with absolute confidence.